Hello, hello. Today I'm here to tell you about Facebook returns and refunds. So let me just set the scene for you. You're having a great day. Sales are rolling in. Maybe you sourced some great inventory. And then you get a message on Facebook. I received my item and I want to return it. And your heart sinks. You thought you did everything right. But some things are out of your control. Or maybe you made a mistake. It happens to the best of us. And you know in your heart that Facebook customer support is basically useless as of January 2020. It may change, I don't know. You know that they're useless. You basically have to handle the return, the refund yourself. Have no fear. I'm here to help you, guide you through it. So buckle up. First of all, you should figure out what the reason for the return is. If something is your fault, I recommend accepting complete responsibility. Sometimes I give a buyer a full refund and I let them keep the item. And that may sound shocking, but a lot of my inventory I source for $5 or less. And when I think about the time I will spend communicating with that buyer, figuring out return shipping, and then processing the return and getting the package and reopening it and relisting it, all of that. Sometimes I don't think it's worth my time. So in cases such as that, I would give them a full refund. And that makes it very easy. But certain items I do have them shipped back, or certain items I just give them a partial refund. So I'm going to go through a couple of different refunds / returns that I've had on Facebook Marketplace to help you figure out which option is best for your situation. So last year I sold a Patagonia Better sweater, and I think I paid like $35 for it. Sold it for $60 plus shipping. The buyer gets it, she looks into the pocket, it wasn't this style, but she looks into the pocket, there's chewed up gum deep in the pocket. So my fault for not checking the pockets well enough. So I told her that she could ship it back and I would refund her the amount. But through Facebook right now, there's no way for a buyer to get any sort of return label generated. So they either need to buy it themselves or you have to mail them a label that they can put on the package. So I told her to pay to have it mailed back to me, send me a picture of that receipt, and I would refund that amount as well. And this was before Facebook was hopeful, so I just paid her that return shipping amount through Venmo, so that she got like the full amount. Because I wasn't able to like add that on to the amount on Facebook. But anyways, she took this Patagonia Better sweater to FedEx and she paid $13 shipping. Normally these are about £1 depending on size. They're pretty lightweight. It should have been like maybe $6 or $7. So that kind of really ate into my profit right there. But anyways, I refunded her everything anyways. I learned to always check the pockets and specify where they should ship the item from. However, there was another time I sold a Free People top that I got at the Goodwill outlet, so I paid about $1 for this. And when I listed the item, I listed the size incorrectly. It was one of those tags where the size is so small and it's in a really bad font. Anyways, I put the size incorrectly. I did have a picture of the tag in the description, but the buyer bought it based on what I wrote in the description. So she got it. She said, this isn't going to fit. And I said, I'll just refund you the entire amount. You can keep it and donate it or whatever you want to do with it. And so she was happy with that resolution. I was able to get through it quickly. I was like, I don't really want to see this top again. You can have it. But if you make the mistake of not responding to a disgruntled buyer, there's currently a loophole that Facebook has, and a buyer can go to customer support, say that they received their item, it wasn't in good condition or whatever, and they can get a full refund and keep their item. And I am so surprised that Facebook has not done anything to close this loophole, because I know that there are so many mad sellers out there who this has happened to. And this is part of the reason that I don't sell anything super expensive on Facebook. I prefer to go through another site like Poshmark or Mercari, where I have some sort of seller protection, where in order for them to get a refund, they have to return the item. But anyways, if a buyer does that on Facebook, currently the seller's not really getting any sort of notification. It just shows up on your sales page. The amount is in red and a negative number. And that's kind of the only reason that you know. So I sold someone a Harley Davidson shirt. I paid $10 for it, which is more than I normally pay, but I know they're such a quick flip. And I accepted an offer from this one guy because I like to keep my inventory moving. And he received it and complained that the design on the back was cracking. So I looked at my photo, zoomed way in. There's like one tiny corner of the design where you could see it. And I was like, okay, nothing that would really impact wear. It's not like it was in awful condition. And he didn't ask for a refund or return or anything. So I thought that was the end of it. Nope. He then went through Facebook Marketplace, got it fully refunded, got to keep the item. And I don't know, these always put me in a bad mood. I don't know about you guys. And I thought about messaging him like some sob story, like, oh, I'm just doing this to like pay for grad school. Can you ship it back? But then I decided that really wasn't worth my time. So I decided to just move on. Lost $10, which isn't awful, but it could have been a lot worse. Sometimes with certain items, I will offer a partial refund. So someone I had shipped an item, I didn't realize it had been repaired on the sleeves, and she wasn't super into it. It was for her daughter. And I was like, I can offer you, a $5 partial refund if you think that she'll still be able to wear it. So the buyer was happy with that. I was able to avoid a bad review. She got to keep the item. Everyone's happy. So here are kind of step-by-step of how to decide what is best for you. So first of all, get enough information from the buyer to determine if you're going to give them a refund and if you want the item to actually be returned to you. And there may be times where you decide not to accept a return, but I would highly recommend still being very polite to the buyer so that they don't go through Facebook support to get a refund that way, through that loophole that they have. Okay, next, if you want the item returned to you, figure out how the buyer should ship it back to you. So like I said, you could mail them a shipping label that you yourself have purchased, and then you just have to pay the extra cost of a stamp, or you can have them ship it back. But like I said, make sure you specify where they should ship it. USPS is often a good option, easily accessible to most people, but sometimes UPS or FedEx will be cheaper. And then have them send you the tracking number if they are shipping it back to you. You don't want this package to be lost somewhere. You want to make sure that they do actually ship it back. And then number 3, don't send them a refund until you receive the item and you check it. So on the off chance that they're a horrible person and they don't actually ship it back, you don't want them to end up with the item and the refund. And I'd also recommend checking the item over just to make sure it's in the same condition as when you shipped it out. And then finally, if everything looks good, you go into your sales page, you pull up the item based on the order number. From there, you should see a button at the bottom of the page that says Refund the Buyer, and then you can select if you're giving them a full or partial refund. And that number will show up in red and negative on your sales page that shows all of your sales amounts. So I have screenshots of those screens in my blog post, which I will link in the comments here because I'm still not that great at editing my YouTube videos. But thanks for sticking around, watching it. Overall, I'd recommend being polite to any buyers so that you're able to reach a mutually beneficial situation and so that they don't leave a bad review. And if you have any Facebook horror stories, please leave a comment. I want to hear. And finally, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get monetized. I'm like 2% of the way there, I think. So, thanks everyone.